All right. Well, thank you very much, and welcome to everybody to this webinar presentation. Have a couple very interesting topics or standards that have just recently been developed and represent the latest, greatest consensus thought on cold form steel structural framing design. So I'm happy to present them to you today, and hopefully you find it beneficial and worthwhile. So with that, let's go ahead and dig into the presentation. The outline for today's discussion, we'll go over cold form steel standards and references. We'll discuss, of course, AISI S240, which represents, again, the latest consensus thinking on cold form steel framing structural design. AISI S400, which is to be used for seismic design, cold form steel framing. And then we'll discuss a breakdown of some of the lateral systems, such as diaphragms, shear walls, and strap braced walls. And so that's what we'll be doing today. Have a lot to discuss, so let's start. So in our library, there's several documents that we should have if we're doing cold form steel design. And we start off by having the primary document for cold form steel design, whether it's framing members or not, is AISI S100, and this is commonly called the specification. S100 has, of course, the specification portion and also the comment. The one that's adopted by the current code in a lot of states, the 2015 IBC, is AISI S112, so the 2012 version. Of course, then there is the AISI standards for structural framing, and there are several different standards for framing, such as general provisions, floor and roof systems, wall stud design, header design, lateral design, truss design, as well as prescriptive methods. And so these are all adopted as well by reference in Chapter 35 of the 2015 IBC. A very useful tool for cold form steel design is the Cold Form Steel Design Manual. And this one, the latest one, is D113, so it's a 2013 version, and it is based on AISI S112. It's similar to the AISC Steel Construction Manual, as I've stated here, so it has charts and tables and examples to try to help with the understanding of cold form steel design, as well as facilitate design. Another useful reference is the AISI Design Guide, and this is D11016. Again, this is based on S112 as well as S24015. And then, of course, one of the textbooks that is now, I think, the 4th edition is the latest, greatest, Cold Form Steel Design. It really goes into depth on the whole concept of cold form steel design, a bit of the history, and a lot of detail with regards to the provisions. And then finally, the Structural Engineers Association of California Structural Seismic Design Manual. They have just published the 2015 IBC version of their design manuals. And in volume 2, there's an example for a cold form steel framed 3-story building that goes through seismic design for that, and is very beneficial. There's also a discussion on force transfer around openings in shear walls in that volume 2, and it's for wood frame construction, but some similar concepts could apply to cold form steel framing. And then online support, the AISI website, steel.org, the Steel Framing Alliance website, steelframing.org, the Cold Form Steel Engineers Institute, cfsei.org, and then the Center for Cold Form Steel Structures, ccfssonline.org. All these have some great documents, especially cfsei.org for engineers, a lot of good technical references to help facilitate understanding in the design of cold form steel. So as we go into, I know the 2018 IBC is not yet published, but the documents that we're discussing today are actually will be referenced by the 2018 IBC, and states probably will begin to adopt the 2018 IBC in 2019 in 2020. So here we're going into 2017, so it's coming up, but it's out there in the future. But we can also design with these standards as long as the building jurisdiction permits it. Again, these standards are representing the latest, greatest thinking design of cold formed steel. So AISI S100, the specification is a 2016 version that's adopted by the 2018 IBC at cold formed steel.